Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another installment in our tips and tricks series for Golf Blitz for Android and iOS. Today, we will be having a look at a very interesting set of courses. This is a very different layout for a couple of different reasons, but hopefully what we're looking at will help you better navigate it and become better at some of these trickier shots that are required. And this, of course, is going to be the tour number 10, which is the Ice Caves. And that is a very interesting set of courses that we'll be going through, mainly because there's a lot of irregular shapes that you have to learn to compensate for. So if you're looking forward to what we'll be going over in this course, make sure that you drop a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe for that daily variety content, as there's plenty of fun and interesting videos coming your way every single day. So let's talk a little bit about these ice caves, and you might want to suit up for some of them because they're going to get a bit chilly. Let's go. Alright, to start us off, we've got a very interesting course, and it's got to do with this set of spires that kind of twirls around. The first shot, not that difficult. You've just got to line things up, and then from here, you're going to want to try and time your shot with the rotation of this center platform to the point where you can get into this section over here. And I recommend waiting for one of the two of the wider spokes that you see from the top there and now rotating around on the side. Those are the ones that are going to get you the better follow-up to the lower section. Now you can go over to the left, and that's a little bit of a safer route, but the fastest route and not super technical is going right, as long as you're able to time those shots as efficiently as possible. And you can always use other aids in order to help you out with that as well. Now here, it's a very interesting course. Now, if you have a couple of extra elixir points, it may be worth it to spend them so you can get a little bit lower down the course instead of waiting around or taking some of these shorter shots up into the next little bit. I failed on that, but that's okay. At this point, you've just got to make your way down this spire, and then the safe route, of course, is going up and over the top. But the better route to use is chipping right in through that horizontal zone. Basically, you're going to want to release your shot a little bit before you line up perfectly with the hole, because of the swinging animation, you'll rotate into position just as you release that shot. So it takes a little bit of practice, so if you want to boot up a practice world and try that, by all means, it's a fine method to use. Now here, we want to go with a similar strategy of hitting into the ceiling. I found tends to work best. If you position it correctly, you can end up on the bottom side of this track. And then there's one of two different ways that you can go. There's this route over here, which brings you directly down to the green. It's easier to pull off the closer you are to that ledge, but as you saw there, I was able to pull it off, mainly because I wasn't conflicting with any other opponents that were down on that ledge, and you may have to adjust your strategy accordingly, depending on how many people are lined up to take that shot. Or you can go for some intentional sabotage moves, but I do know that they have recently added that as an option, which I don't really understand griefing or game sabotage as being a thing that you would report someone for, because it's part of the in-game strategy at the end of the day. So kind of a weird addition to make, but I'm getting sidetracked. Let's look at a couple of more holes here. So on this hole, there is a very, very tight window that you can take that's best assisted by using the sniper ball, and it allows you to just barely make your way down and bypass those first two sections altogether. Again, the timing's very tight on it, but it can be done if you've got a lot of precision to work with. If not, just take the standard route down, because it requires a lot of outside factors to pull off efficiently. Okay. This course is one that can be a little bit tricky. Now, again, I recommend hitting up, because here you can deflect over that first little hurdle, and that's going to give you an innate benefit over some of your opponents. From here, you're going to want to try and be as close to this edge as you possibly can so you can get a clean shot instead of relying on luck to roll off of that edge, because if you go in too strong, you're going to deflect off the ceiling and fall down into the water hazard. So the biggest strategy there is hitting up into the ceiling and getting further along so you can shave an extra shot off of your trajectory there. Okay, here's another one that can be a little bit tricky. With a lot of these courses, it's best to bank off of the ceiling because it gets you around some of these weirder formations. And then from here, what I highly recommend doing is taking a casual roll off of the end to the lower platform and possibly using something like the grenade ball to protect your trajectory, especially if you are being chased by a couple of other players on the course. From there, you'll just want to take a nice little chip into the green, and you may be able to finish that out with a single shot and be able to roll in. If not, it's going to leave you for a very short and simple follow-up once you're on the inside there. So this course has a similar feel to it to one of the earlier ones that we saw with the spinning platform. Basically, you'll start off by taking a shot down to this platform here, and then what you'll need to do is you'll need to try and line up a shot with this spire that's rotating where it will leave you right here. Now you'll have to take a higher bumper shot if you do end up that close to the actual opening there. It is possible, but it can be a little bit annoying depending on where you're at. And then from here, I recommend instead of going for the front end of the green, banking off the back side and allowing your trajectory to pull you back towards the hole. I just feel like that's a much safer route more often than not. Here's another really fun one, and there's a couple of them that revolve around this kind of ice flow type mechanic. Basically, for the first one, you're just going to want to take a shot onto the primary ice flow and get stuck on the goo that's there. The second one is basically the same, but you've just got to make a shot through that tiny little opening there. And then there's a couple of icicles that are blocking the actual putting green, but getting to it is decent as long as you have a fair amount of accuracy with either your own shots or the power-up that you choose to use, like I demonstrated there with the the fast forward ball. And here is that other hole that has this kind of ice flow that goes back and forth. Now, the best thing that you can do here is get onto the ice flow as quickly as possible, and then you'll want to make this fall up. Now, if you have the anti-gravity ball, then you may be able to make a more technical shot that takes you up and around. If not, then you'll just want to progress slowly down onto this lower portion of the course with whatever standard shots you can take. And that was a less than optimal use of the anti-gravity ball on the first use there, but you get the general idea. If you get the angle right, you can make your way up to this portion and skip this whole lower section, because with too much power, you're going to roll into the water hazard, and then you have to wait for the ice flow to come back around with that follow-up shot there. And this one can be a little bit rough as well. So the first shot that you're going to want to try and do is off of the wall here, just to bank down into this lower section. Once you're here, I recommend taking the lower path. It doesn't matter a whole lot, but the lower path brings you in with a lot less momentum that's less likely to dump you into the water hazard down below. Now, I took my shot a little low there, but you get the general idea of what needs to happen next. You need to get onto this portion, and then if you can, there's a really good option of going low and bypassing this whole middle mess altogether to get over to the other edge, but it can be a little bit tricky to pull off depending on how you line up with this oblong rotating platform there. It is doable depending on when you latch on, but it's also kind of a risky move, so just kind of be aware that accuracy favors the bold there. Well, I've played through these courses a couple of extra times just to make sure that we've hit everything, and I do believe that to be the case. So that is where I'm going to leave things. If you feel like there's anything that I missed, please leave it down in the comments, as I like to revisit these from time to time and correct some of my shortcomings when and if there are those, and I can replicate them here for you to learn and benefit from. Again, if you've made it this far into the video, make sure that you leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe for that daily variety content. Until the next one, everyone, take care of yourself.